Today we're going to start 13.4, which is paying, withholding, and payroll taxes. So we've calculated all those different things for those liabilities and withholding those things from the paychecks. So now we need to pay this to the government. So our learning objective is to pay and record withholding and payroll taxes. So paying the liability for employee income tax, Social Security tax, and Medicare tax. The payment of payroll taxes to the government is referred to as a deposit. And then there's the 12-month period that ends on June 30th of the prior year that is used to determine how frequently a business must deposit payroll taxes. And that's called the look-back period. So businesses typically run on the end on June 30th and begin on July 1 for their kind of 12-month period. Okay, and then we get this flow chart to help us figure out how often we have to pay these taxes, or deposit these taxes. So first thing is, are the total sales or the total taxes for the prior quarter less than $2,500 and all of the current quarter tax liabilities within a deposit period less than $100,000. So there's two different numbers here we're looking at. If you're unsure, answer no. But if yes, if it is less than $2,500, and then all the current quarter tax liabilities within a deposit period are less than $100,000, then you will deposit taxes by the end of the month after the end of the quarter, or mail taxes with Form 941. But if not, you'll go to the next part. Have you accumulated a tax liability of $100,000 or more within a deposit period? If yes, deposit taxes by the next banking day. If no, did you fall under the 100,000 rule at any time during this year or last year? If yes, you are a semi-weekly schedule depositor. Deposit taxes from paydays paid on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday by the following Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday by the following Friday. If not, are the total taxes for the look-back period more than $50,000? If yes, same thing. If no, you are a monthly scheduled depositor. Deposit taxes for the month by the 15th of the following month. Now, everybody that starts their business is a monthly scheduled depositor. That's what they would be starting as, and then you'll do this look back period to figure these things out to see if there's any changes that you'd need to make to how often you deposit. So making federal tax deposits. New employers, again, are monthly scheduled depositors for the first calendar years of business, so July 1 to June 30th. After a look-back period is established, the business must evaluate whether a change in its deposit period is required. So that's where we would use that flow chart. Federal tax deposits must be paid using electric fund transfers, so EFTs. We had talked about that in a previous chapter. And then deposits can also be made using the electronic federal tax payment system. And then remember that tax rules change periodically, so it's always important if you are in accounting that you check the tax rules, because it could change some different things and how you operate. So journalizing, payment of liability for employee income tax, Social Security tax, and Medicare tax. So January 15th, we paid cash, and like with that EFT, here for liability for employee income tax of $998, Social Security tax of $2,023.06, and Medicare tax of $473.14, which was a total of $3,494.20. So if we think about it in T accounts, we have our employee income tax payable. We have a debit of $998, our Social Security tax payable, a debit of $2,023.06, and these should be balancing out. They should be equaling out zero. Here, Medicare tax payable, $473.14, and then cash, because we are paying out cash, it is a credit of the total of these three accounts of $3,494.20. And then how we write this in the journal. First thing is our date. Remember, depending on what line it is, if it's the first line, I'll put the month. If not, then I just need the date because it is farther down on my journal. I have the accounts debited, which is the employee income tax payable. Remember, this order is just from that same chart we had worked before. So employee income tax payable, Social Security tax payable, and Medicare tax payable. We're just working across. It shouldn't count it wrong if you put it in a different order, but it's always best to just try and keep it in these order. check number 748, debit amounts, and then on that first line, remember to put that check amount or that cash credit here for the total. So paying the liability for federal unemployment tax, so that FUTA. FUTA taxes are paid by the end of the month following each quarter if the liability amount is more than 500. If it's not, then we wouldn't do this. All employment tax liabilities outstanding at the end of the calendar year must be paid. So if it was less than 500, then at the end of the calendar year, we would make sure that that is all paid in full. FUTA tax is paid to the federal government using electronic funds transfer or the electronic federal tax payment system, same as the other. The deposit for FUTA tax is similar to the deposit required for income tax, Social Security tax, and Medicare tax. So we're just paying that off those liabilities here to the government. Okay, so how do we journalize our payment of liability for federal unemployment tax? Because they're going to different places, we have to journalize them differently here. So paid cash for federal unemployment tax liability for quarter ended December 31st, 297.02, check number 749. So again, in the T account of liability, my balance was 297.02. So now I am going to pay this amount, and then cash is going out, so it would be a credit of 297.02. So these will equal each other out, and then this is paid. So how that's journalized is date unemployment tax payable federal, check number, and then the debit amount and the credit amount should be the same. Now remember, I have to decipher between federal and state, so I cannot put these together at the same time. This is going to the federal government. So now we'll go to the state unemployment tax. So January 31st, again, paid cash for state unemployment, or SUTA, tax liability for quarter ended December 31st, 147.42, check number 750. Again, same amount here because I'm paying off that liability, and then I am paying out cash, so 147.42 here. Again, date unemployment tax payable state, check number 750, the debit amount, and cash credit in the same line. We will go to the work together.